So the honorable mention is James Harden. Because James Harden does not need a bounce back season. He doesn't. He's actually really good. He had a great season. He was third team All-NBA. He played 79 games at the age of 34, 35. I can't say James Harden needs a comeback season. So why did I put him on this list? The reason I put him on this list is because his playoffs sucked. We're not even necessarily his playoffs. His playoffs weren't terrible. He just had a really bad Game 7, in which he scored 7 points. So I had to put him on here. He needs a bounce back season, only because his postseason was so bad that it made you forget about his regular season. I didn't hear people talk about this. I feel like this deal went under the radar. I feel like it was one of those deals that went through when all the deals were happening and there's just bigger news. But $40 million, 2 more years for James Harden at $40 million at the age of 35? And he deserves it. I feel like there was enough drama going on that there were a lot of James Harden haters who were waiting in the wings to criticize him for making a lot of money, but there were just other things to criticize, so they missed it. So the deal went through and they were like, wait, what happened with Harden? I wanted to shit on his deal. Oh, it already happened 2 weeks ago. I can't shit on this deal now. He deserves it. $40 million this year and next. He's good. You can't just say, hey, you were disappointing in a Game 7, and you're historically pretty bad in Game 7, so we're going to look dumb if we sign you to a big deal. I love it. Love the deal. I think James Harden should have 2 MVPs. Do I think Giannis should have 2 MVPs? Yeah. I think they should have shared the MVP one year. That'd be crazy. I assume it can happen, right? Because you have MVP voters. What if 2 guys tie in MVP votes? They share it? Do they cut it in half? That'd actually be pretty sick if you got it, but it was split down the middle and one guy got 1, and then you could sort of put them together like a friendship bracelet. That'd be sick. I think that's what you'd have to do if you literally had a tie, if 2 guys had the same amount of points. I'd like to see it happen. Now, Kawhi. This is a legit guy needs a comeback season because he's the opposite of Kawhi. He's the opposite of James Harden. He's not the opposite of Kawhi. He is Kawhi. Because Kawhi had an atrocious regular season. It looks fine, 21 points. You'd expect more, but he played a lot, shot really well from 3. Good defender. When he played, he was good. He was on a minutes restriction, so I think that's why his points were lower. That was the thing. Because remember, he came back, and we were like, oh, Kawhi's back. And then he played like 15 minutes, got 12 points, but only played like 15 minutes. So we were all like, damn, Kawhi, we're mad because you used to be really good and you're injured all the time. And that's upsetting to us. We got to get our little gripe. Maybe I'm talking about myself. I like to criticize Kawhi. It's fun for me. So he needs a big comeback season. I don't think we're going to get it from him. I think we're going to get another like ice packs on the bench. What I think he needs is he needs a 50-game season, playing 50 games. You're making $50 million a year, bub. I think playing in 50 games ain't too much to ask. They might, by the decision of the front office and Ty Lue, they may say, let's do another 37-game season. Have him ready for the playoffs. Because he did come back and he played in the playoffs and he was really good. Matter of fact, when he came back at the end of the season, Clippers went 18-3 with Kawhi in the 21 games that he came back for. Pretty good. He's got talent when he plays. So I kind of liked last season because you had him for 37 games and we didn't get the typical, I got injured in the first round of the playoffs and now I'm playing one of those playoff games hurt and then the next 2 I'm sitting out. Those just suck. I'd rather you only play 37 games in the season, you make the playoffs, but play a whole series. I would like that more than knowing Kawhi is day to day during the playoffs. That always sucks so bad. Because you know he wants to play. He cried. He cried like a woman. So I'm in. I don't even know if he needs to play 50 games. But I think he should play 50 games and he should win a playoff series. That's what we need from Kawhi Leonard. Devin Booker. Now, I put him on here because I felt like during the season, everyone was talking about how Devin Booker needed a bounce back season. They're like, man, he had a rough season. It was a bad season for him. And it was, I suppose, really all it was his 3-point shooting percentage was low. 33%. It's not great. From a guy who's an all-star and he's shooting 7.3 threes a game, you need it to be a little bit higher. But if you look at the rest of his stats, pretty much on par. This was his best passing season so far. It's not like he had a really down season. The real problem was the Suns just sucked. His team was ass. So anything that he did do, you want to say do it differently to be less ass. Whatever you do, try something different because we don't want the same result of ass. But all in all, he played pretty well. So I was watching highlights of that team, that Phoenix Suns team, and I'm watching, because there's another guy that was a Phoenix Suns on this list too, and I'm watching these guys play, and I'm thinking, these guys were awesome. They were so good. But they were so bad. Was it the defense? Because even, I'm not going to talk about it yet, but Devin Booker had some defensive highlights that I was like, man, this guy is locked in. I think really what it is just that they're good, but they weren't exceptional. And maybe there are other I don't know. Maybe the pieces around them were just bad, but man, what I do remember from the Phoenix Suns season is I remember there were a lot of games where the defensive lapses just happened. There were open guys catching balls, putting up layups, and then there were dudes looking at each other doing this. I think that was big. It was a big, blame game on defense. What I'm worried about with the Phoenix Suns is do you remember when they didn't really have a point guard? They were like, what are we going to do? We don't really have a point guard. Because even Bradley Beal was a shooting guard. Kevin Durant, he's a 4. Jalen Green now, shooting guard. Remember when they tried to put Devin Booker as the point guard? Like, we'll have Devin Booker be the point guard. He's not a trad point guard. He ain't a trad wife point guard, man. He's just not. You watch him get pressured full court, he can make his way up without getting a violation, but a little bit tired. So I don't know what the Suns are going to do. I have no idea what their plan is. If you ask Matt Ishbia, he's probably going to say winning the championship. Suns in 4, because he's delusional. LaMelo Ball. Now, it's hard to even say that LaMelo Ball needs a comeback season because was he ever there? Did he ever arrive to a successful season and then leave the party? Because you have to actually show up to the party to exit the party and then come back to the party. He was an all-star that one year. And also remember, as a guard in the East, he had the most fan votes. When you watch the guy play, and I was talking about this a little bit on the Patreon podcast, $2 a month, 4 podcasts a month, podcast every week. Much love to my Patreon people. Yo. Because remember, he went for 50 points and 10 assists in November against the Bucks in a loss. But it was a close game. Then January 28th, he messed up his ankle. He missed 28 games by late February. Hornets go 1-19 without him. So it's sort of... I don't know if that's even a good sign. It's like, hey, the team was really bad. The team was abysmal. The team was hardly an NBA team without him. So I guess that is a good sign for LaMelo Ball. Or is it just is it such an atrocious sign for the Charlotte Hornets that there's no way anyone that's associated with that information could be seen as good? I don't know. But is LaMelo I'm fine with this. I love being a Hornet. The Hornets love me. I get to do whatever I want on the court. I get to play street ball, basketball, and people go nuts. People buy my jersey. They dap me up at the club. This is the life I want. Playoff games? Never heard of them. Don't give a shit. I'm LaMelo Ball, bitch. Sounds like a nice life. I don't know, but he's a great player, and it's nice to see him succeed. I'm rooting for him, even if he ain't rooting for himself. Lauri Markin, one of the strongest players in the league, in my opinion, and he can shoot really well. 34% from 3, shooting 8.5 threes a game. as a power forward, any team would want him. But here's the thing. Any team would want him, but every time we get to the trade deadline or we get to free agency, we get to the offseason, nobody comes calling for Lauri Markkanen. My theory is Danny Ainge is waiting. I'm sick of Danny Ainge, dude. Danny Ainge is just sitting on Lauri Markkanen waiting for some wild trade package. He's looking for a literal, like, Pirates chest of gold to be traded for Lauri Markkanen. It's like, dude, just get rid of him for the sake of cutting him loose, giving him some peace. Because last summer, he signed that super fat extension. All right, Lauri, but Lauri probably talked himself into it and said, hey, this is an unbelievable amount of money. And again, I would do the same. I'm a greedy little piggy too. I wouldn't say, hey, you know what? I'm going to become a free agent, sign with a great team that I can win a championship with. Because in reality, you don't even know. You could sign with that team, then they could trade you. You could sign with that team, and then they could blow it up too. So you might as well secure the bag. I understand it, Lauri, but man, you are under contract with the Utah Jazz till 2029. Bro, you're in hell. You're burnt. You're in purgatory, man. You're in purgatory, and you signed up for it. So I'm worried about him, but he needs a great season. He needs to say to Hardy, Tim Hardy, Greg Hardy makes ugly jeans. Who am I trying to say? Will Hardy. He needs to say, hey, man, I know we're supposed to tank. I know we're supposed to tank another year. I know we're supposed to be really bad, but I need to ball out. I need to go nuts. All right? So the first half of the season, before the deadline, you need to showcase me and how hard I can dunk and how many three-pointers I can shoot and how many of those three-pointers that I'm shooting I can make. You need the people to know I'm good because I need my ass traded. I fucking hate it here. Will Hardy's like, I fucking hate it here too. I mean, I'm lucky to be 33 years old and be a head coach of an NBA team. That's pretty cool. But man, my life sucks here in Utah. Can't even get a beer over 4% alcohol. They're both plagued by status and money because Will Hardy's like, hey, I'm not an assistant coach anymore. I'm a head coach. Lauri Markkanen's like, I'm on a max contract, man. I'm one of the big ballers in the league. But they're both like, dang, but we're both in Utah. So they both want out. Now, even I wonder how Lauri felt when they shut him down, when the Utah Jazz kept telling the league, yeah, he's got these back spasms. His back is really wigging out, dude. Really freaking out. Can't really play with his back all jiggly. And the NBA says on March 17th, we think you're lying. We don't think that's true. We think you're lying to us, and we're going to fine you. I forget how much the fine was. What was it, $100,000? So they fine him, and then Lauri comes back. All of a sudden, his back stops spasming, magically healed by the power of punishment. So, Lauri Markkanen, he needs an all-star appearance. He needs hopefully traded. That's what I think. He needs hopefully traded. That would be a positive. That would be the comeback that he needs. He needs to appear as an all-star, get selected, and then before the trade deadline, traded. Traded to somewhere good. He's never seen the playoffs, bruh. Ooh. DeAndre Aiden needs a good season. Stock's low. And I'm part of that. I'm part of the short squeeze on DeAndre Aiden. I'm tanking the stock. And I'm buying it up at a later date. So what he needs, and I wanted to pick on him because I said when he went out, I said the Portland Trailblazers got good as soon as he went out. And then I looked into it. I looked into the game log and I realized, oh, no, they got good while he was playing. He's pretty good. He's a good player. So as much as I like being critical of DeAndre Aiden, he is a good player. But he needs to redeem himself. I believe he's on a player option. So he's got $8 million this year. And then he has the option for an $8 million contract next year. But I'm sure he's going to be the starting center. So he's trying to play really, really well and get a bigger contract. Maybe not a max. Maybe not max status. I don't ever think he'll get back to there where he can say, I'm a max player, that's all that matters. I don't think he ever does, but I think he's going for a bigger contract, and he needs it, because he only played 40 games last year. He hurt his fingy, and then he strained his calf, but he didn't power through like Halliburton, who played until the wheels fell off. He sat. Fair enough, he sat because the team sucked, who cares? Defensive rating went up when Aiden was out. When they started playing Klingon in there, they got better. I don't know what's going to happen, man. But he's got to play in 65 games. I feel like that's totally reasonable. I feel like he's got to be better than Zubac. I said he has to be top 5 in blocks, top 5 in rebounds. And you know Zubac is going to be up in there. Because I think he's going to want some Zubac money. At least. I bet if you asked DeAndre Aiden, if you asked him, like, who do you think is better, you or Zubac? There's no way he's going to say Zubac. Yeah, a little bit. Imagine if he said that. He says, yeah, well, let me think. Probably Zoo. Yeah, probably Zoo. Yeah, a little bit, you know. We'll see how this season goes, but I think he's got a little more elements to his game. He's a little bit better in the pick and roll, if I'm being honest. A little bit quicker on the boards. I can lob a little bit better, but at the end of the day, more valuable player is probably Zubac. Imagine someone being honest about how skilled they are. Zion Williamson desperately needs a comeback season, dude. The man, I set a goal for him. You know, I don't want to set a pie in the sky, lofty goal for Zion. I'm not going to do that to him. All right? Play in a playoff game. Play in one. Play in one, rip your ass muscles in half, tear open your thigh muscles, rip your quad, do everything. Just fall apart, but step on the court. Play a second of a playoff game, and you reached your goal. That's all I'm asking of him. Because this year he only played in 30 games. And I said this on the show. I don't know if I said it on the Patreon. I don't know if I said it on this show. But what I'd like to see is Zion Williamson be a little bit disappointed in himself. I'd like to see him be 10% as disappointed in his lack of production as every NBA fan has been since he was drafted. He's sort of like, hey, God ripped my ass muscle. What, am I going to be mad at God? It was the will of God that my ass ripped in half. I think he just needs less ass, dude. He needs to get skinny. Remember when he was Ozempic'd out last summer? We saw him. It turned out he wasn't even on Ozempic. It was the angle of the shot. It was a low angle, and he stuck his neck like this. Anyone looks skinny. I look skinny. Little camera trick. It's bullshit. So, definitely needs a comeback season for Zion Williamson. Man, what a disappointment. Ja. Now, here's the thing. Ja played way more games than Zion, okay? But I have way higher expectations for Ja. And Ja has done a little bit of a self-inflicted wounds, you know? I think he's a little bit of a self-harmer, if you will. Because remember last year when he pulled out the AK, when he pulled out the Mac 11? Actually, no, I think he did the Draco. I can't remember. He did a gun sign, and he got fined $75K for it. He got fined a fully loaded Ford Explorer, fresh off the lot, 0 miles, for this. Because he shoots it, I think. I think it was at Buddy Hield. He shot at Buddy Hield. What do you guys think of this? I think $75K is too much. I think you should be able to do violent gestures on the court. Remember Jaylen Brown? He did this, like slit the throat thing. He slit his own throat. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to get fined for that. I'm going to pay for that one. And he did. Or Halliburton did, he got away with a big balls in the postseason. Nobody fined him, which I like. I like a lewd gesture. A violent gesture, a lewd gesture. Let's have a little fun. Now, pulling a gun out on Instagram Live, I think we can all agree. You don't even have to justify it. You don't even have to make the case why it's not okay. Anyone who's not an idiot is going to say, yeah, you can't do it. Can't do it. T. Morant says my son should be able to do whatever he wants, but you know how dads be. I've talked about that. So what we need from Ja is we need an all-NBA season. I know. I set the bar high for my mans. And we need him to be an all-star. Because it wasn't that crazy bad of a season because Jaren Jackson Jr. sort of carried the team. Desmond Bane as well. Also, I think we should get an all-NBA season from him and an all-star season because we're going to need more than 23.2 points a game because our old pal, Desmond Bane, he on a different team now. And he was getting buckets. So someone's got to make up for those buckets. And I think it's going to be Ja. Bradley Beal desperately needs a comeback season. Bradley Beal is 31 years old. I find that so surprising. I look at this guy and I'm like, man, you're 31. And it makes, it kind of makes me feel bad being so mean about these guys because they're younger than me. They probably look up to me. Anyway, so he has a player option next year for another $5 million. He's going to want more money, so he has to ball out. And what I'm seeing is people think that he's going to be in the starting lineup. Some people don't think he is. Some people think Chris Paul is going to be in the starting lineup. Listen, I don't think Chris Paul is going to be in the starting lineup. I think he's going to be the backup point guard to James Harden because James Harden is your point guard. I still think he's one of the best point guards in the league. Some people think that's... Some people have unsubscribed from this channel when I said that a couple years ago. I'm still saying it now. Some of you just unsubscribed. You'll be back. So, what I'd be worried about is I'd be worried about Chris Dunn if I were Bradley Beal. Because if he's not good on defense, which I gotta say, I was watching some Bradley Beal highlights today, a lot of them were steals. He sort of has the Allen Iverson style of defense, where it's not really a system guy, not really quick side to side, but he takes some risks and he gets some steals. But hey, steals are steals. Average 1.1 a game. He needs a comeback season. We need to see what he can do. We need to see him succeed. He knows this. We all know this. We need him to not get his starting job taken from Chris Dunn. That's really what this whole season is about for him. And it'd be nice if they won a playoff series. But I don't think that's necessarily on Brad Beal. I think that's more so on Kawhi and James Harden. I don't put that on Beal. So, mainly what he's playing for is he's playing for the ability to turn down his player option and sign a bigger deal, either with the Clippers or elsewhere. That's what he needs a big old season for. So, PG, Paul George. Okay, so Paul George is on this list, and I think you guys know who's next. Listen, I'm not trying to pick on the guy anymore. I was watching my buddy Jason sent me a TikTok of this TikTok account that does research. It was kind of, I should plug them. I don't remember what their name was. But they were doing the correlation with guys who start a podcast and their points per game and how it goes down, which I actually thought was a pretty good metric. But what they didn't factor in, and granted, this was more of a sketch comedy bit than it was actual like research. So I'm going to let them off the hook. But what they didn't factor in is that these players were aging. So obviously their points per game are going to go down. But nevertheless, I've said it once, I've said it twice, I've said it 5 times. Paul George should shut down Podcast P until he retires. One can only serve a single master. Now, PG's going through arthroscopic surgery. He's going to be checked in 10 weeks, right before the season starts. Who leaks this information? Because if I'm the Sixers, if I'm Paul George, I'd say, don't. Please don't tell anyone. I know I need arthroscopic surgery, but this needs to be, keep this in-house, man. We're going to do this inside my house. You're going to set up the arthroscopic surgery center inside my house. Anyone who finds out, we kill them. We have to kill them. I don't want to kill them, but we have to, because this has to be a secret. This has to be between you and me. Something was like tickling the back of my throat for the last 10 minutes, and I pray that I got it. So, 16.2 points per game. Really what we want to see, honestly, I got down here, we need to give the Sixers 65 games, shoot 37% from 3, and play in the playoffs, not even be an all-star. That's what I said. But really what I would like to see Paul George say is, I'm really going to lock in this season. I'm going to shut down the podcast. I'm going to focus, and I'm going to work on my health entirely. On the time that I was doing the podcast, I'm going to take that time and I'm going to ice my knees. I'm going to be doing hot yoga. I'm going to be doing underwater aerobics with that time. That would be a win for, in my opinion, for Paul George if he were to say, I'm gonna stop getting distracted and I'm gonna go hard on my rehab. But I think Paul George is sort of like, yeah, I'm kind of doing basketball on the side. I got a lot of projects going on. I'm a real girl boss here. I'll get to the basketball when I get to it. As soon as I stop ripping my ass cheeks, my ass cheek muscles heal up, I'll start shooting around a bit. I got this new deal with Athletic Greens for my podcast. 10 grand an ad read. Bro, why are you reading DraftKings ad on your podcast when you made $51 million this year and next year? Don't read ads on podcasts if you have the means to make a podcast without ads. What are you doing? This doesn't even have ads. The type of measly money that they've offered me to do ads on this, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to read a DraftKings or Prize Picks ad. Dude, they want to pay like $300 for like a minute and a half read. I'm like, no. Like $1,000. Well, okay, it's not worth it to us. Well, then it's not worth it to me. I'm just going to ruin my show for $300. Holy shit. Okay, so we're going to double dip a little bit. I talked about this on the podcast, but the article, the Joel Embiid article, and you know it's a good article, or it's there's something about the article. There's a bit of a je ne sais quoi to the article when all your favorite podcasters are referring to it not as an article, but as a piece of journalism. That's how you know. That's how you know this has reached the upper echelon of pretentious people talking about it. The Joel Embiid sees you article. Now, because I read the article, and again, I'm trying to sell you on the Patreon. I don't want to give you the whole damn, I don't want to give you the whole cow for free. All right? I'm going to make you buy it. I thought it was too much. I didn't want to know that much. I'm a story guy. Too many stories. Don't need to know about every single tragedy in Joel's life. I pray for the man. Shit sucks. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with all this information. It's like, hey, did you know that Joel Embiid's life sucks? Because when I read it, I was like, yeah, this man is deeply depressed. He has severe depression. I read it and I was like, okay. Sorry. Poor guy's dog got smashed in an elevator. God damn. ESPN? I just didn't know what to do with the information. I read it and I was like, wow. And also, Palestine. I just didn't know what I was supposed to do with the information. It just felt like this very laundry list of tragedies that have happened to Joel, and it sucks. I'm not trying to belittle them. I just didn't really know what to do with it. I didn't really know what it had to do with basketball, and I'm not saying... I'm sure some people really enjoyed it. I'm just saying it really wasn't for me, and I didn't really know what to make of it. And I like knowing guys' stories, but I honestly didn't really feel like it gave a lot of perspective. I think it to me, it just sort of felt like, hey man, be nice to Joel. He's had it rough. And I'm like, okay, I'm not down in that, but my man's played 19 games last season. And then the season before played like 32. He used to be an MVP. He used to be really good. Now his face breaks and his knee is full of fluid. And then he plays for the USA in the Olympics, gets a gold medal, while his knee is not full of fluid. And as soon as he's got his gold medal, full of fluid again. These are the questions about knee fluid I'd like to know. I don't want to read about someone's dead dog because it's sad and it makes me want to cry. I'm trying to escape from my sad reality of my life with basketball. That's all I'm trying to say. So I think with Joel, he has to make the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that's all he really has to do. I think it's all he really has to do to have a successful season. Because I think at this point, the expectations on JoJo are so low that if he makes the Eastern Conference Finals, people that are always sort of griping about how he's never made the Eastern Conference Finals have to shut up a bit. They'll have to shut up about that. I think that'll buy him a year, because in reality, what we would expect from a player like Joel Embiid is either a championship or he's going to be one of those what-if guys, which is fine. Sometimes you're a what-if guy because he's already had a really great career. Maybe he played for the U.S., got the gold medal because he thought, I don't know if I'm ever going to get anything cooler than a gold medal. Fair. Straight up, not faulting him for that. I'm not faulting him for anything. But I do think Joel might be a little bit of a victim toward the power of negative thinking and the snowball that is focusing on your negative thoughts and your own self-loathing, right? Do you know what I'm saying? When you start thinking about the bad stuff, all you see is the bad stuff. Just a thought. I'm sure he's in therapy. One thing I didn't talk about on the podcast, and I wish I had, is there's a point in the article where he shows I forget the guy's name. I should say his name. I'll put his name up here because I feel bad not saying it, because a lot of people have not said the author's name. He has a very uncommon name. I heard him on the Rice Ricky Sanchez podcast, and I feel bad that people aren't saying his name. So I'll put it up here just because he wrote a good article, and I feel like his name is difficult to say, so people aren't saying it as much, and he's not getting the credit he deserves. Anyway, he had like 900 missed texts and like 400 missed phone calls. And I never related to Joel Embiid until that moment. Because he even said, yeah, people in my life do find it frustrating. This is what people don't like about me. What Joel needs to understand is you don't have to, people can just be mad. People can call you and you cannot respond. They can call you back. They can text you and say, hey, haven't heard from you. Are you okay? And you can say, yeah. Why haven't you responded? Never respond. You don't, at this point in the human history, just because people think I can contact you at any point in time doesn't mean you owe them that, even culturally. You can ignore phone calls. And the beautiful thing about ignoring phone calls and ignoring texts is those people that you dread texting, that you have no interest in texting, that you can't find the motivation to text, if you stop texting them, they'll stop texting you. The friendship will end. There's a little bit of a fear there where you think, oh, I might miss that friendship. Brother, you dreaded it when they texted because you had to text them back. Don't text people back that when you get a text, you're filled with dread because you know you owe them a text. Something to think about. Okay, there's a Patreon list here. People I love the most. I love you. I love all y'all. But the Patreon people, you don't understand the type of love that goes on there. All right, be good to your mothers, eat a corn dog.